Imagine it is Monday morning. The sun is just beginning to peek through the curtains, casting a soft, golden light across your room. You wake up before the alarm clock even rings. There is a strange, electric energy in your body. You feel powerful. You feel ready. This is the day you have been waiting for. This is the day you finally start your big project. Maybe you are going to write a book, start a business, or finally master the English language. You jump out of bed. You drink your coffee with a smile. Your mind is full of bright, beautiful images of your future success. You can almost see yourself standing at the finish line, receiving the applause of the world. You sit down at your desk and the words flow like a river. You work for hours without stopping. You tell yourself, "This is it. I have finally found my passion. I am never going to stop." You are riding a wave of pure, intense motivation. It feels like magic. But then, Wednesday arrives. The weather outside is gray and cold. You didn't sleep well because the neighbor's dog was barking. Your head feels heavy and your body feels like lead. When you think about your project, that bright electric energy is gone. In its place is a dull, quiet resistance. You sit at your desk, but the screen stays blank. The coffee doesn't taste like success anymore. It just tastes like bitter water. You find yourself looking at your phone, scrolling through social media, looking for that feeling you had on Monday. You are waiting for the spark to return. You tell yourself, "I'm just not feeling it today. I'll wait until I'm motivated again. I'll wait for the right moment." This is the great myth of motivation. We often treat motivation like a loyal friend who will stay with us until the job is done. In reality, motivation is more like a summer storm, powerful, loud, and exciting, but gone in an instant. It is a spark. Think of a dark, freezing forest in the middle of winter. You want to build a house to keep yourself warm. Motivation is the match you strike to start the fire. It is bright and hot for a few seconds. It gives you hope. But a match cannot keep a house warm all winter. If you only work when you feel the heat of that match, you will freeze the moment it goes out. The feeling of waiting for the right moment is one of the most dangerous traps in the human mind. We believe that if we wait long enough, we will eventually feel ready. We wait for a sign from the universe. We wait for our energy levels to be perfect. We wait for the silence to be absolute. But the truth is, the right moment is a ghost. It does not exist in the real world. While you are waiting for the feeling of inspiration, time is slipping through your fingers like sand. The physical sensation of this waiting is a heavy fog in the brain. It makes your goals feel miles away, hidden behind a thick wall of maybe tomorrow. To succeed, you must stop being a slave to how you feel. You must learn that the fire stays alive because you keep adding wood to it, even when your hands are cold and you want to quit. So, if motivation is just a temporary spark, what is the structure that actually holds the house together? What is the force that carries you through the gray Wednesdays and the exhausted Friday nights? The answer is self-discipline. Many people think discipline is a dirty word. They think of it as a punishment, like a cold room or a strict teacher. But true discipline is a beautiful, quiet strength. It is the ability to choose between what you want now and what you want most. Right now, you might want to sleep for another hour. You might want to eat a sugary snack. You might want to watch another episode of a television show. These are now desires. They are easy, but they are small. What you want most, however, is different. You want to be a person of influence. You want to speak English with confidence. You want to build something that lasts. These are most desires. They are difficult, but they are magnificent. Self-discipline is the bridge between these two worlds. Think of your life as a grand building. Motivation is the paint on the walls. It is the bright color that catches the eye. It makes the building look exciting and new. But a building made only of paint will collapse in the first wind. Discipline is the foundation. It is the heavy stone and the deep concrete buried under the earth. No one sees the foundation. No one applauds the foundation. It is silent, dark and boring. But when the storms come, when life gets hard, when you lose your job, when you feel lonely, or when you are simply tired, the foundation is the only thing that keeps you standing. Consider the person who shows up to work every single day. They are not always excited. Sometimes they are bored. Sometimes they are deeply discouraged. They might have a headache, or they might be worried about their bills. But they sit down, they open their books, and they begin. This is not the loud, shouting energy of a hero in a movie. This is the quiet, steady rhythm of a clock. Tick, tick, tick. They don't ask themselves, "Do I feel like doing this?" They simply acknowledge that the work must be done. This quiet strength is more powerful than any burst of inspiration. It is the power of the professional. The amateur waits for motivation. The professional puts on their shoes and gets to work. However, discipline is not just a tool you use to finish a task. It is much deeper than that. It is the process of changing who you are. To truly master yourself, you must undergo an identity shift. Most people approach success as something they do. They say, "I am doing 30 minutes of English study today. This is a good start, but it is fragile." If they miss a day, they feel like they have failed. They see discipline as an external weight they are trying to lift. But the most successful people in the world see it differently. For them, discipline is not something they do, it is someone they become. Think about the way you speak about yourself. There is a massive difference between saying, "I am trying to be disciplined," and saying, "I am a disciplined person." When you are trying, you are still fighting against yourself. You are looking for an exit. You are waiting for an excuse to stop. But when you adopt the identity of a disciplined person, your choices become automatic. This shift happens through small daily victories. Every time you choose to sit at your computer for 30 minutes to learn English instead of scrolling through your phone, you are casting a vote for your new identity. Each choice is a small brick. On the first day, you have 1 brick. It doesn't look like much. On the second day, you have 2. But after a year of these tiny daily choices, you have a fortress. When you start to see yourself as a disciplined person, you no longer need to have a long internal argument every morning. You don't have to negotiate with your laziness. You don't say, "Should I study today?" You simply say, "I am the type of person who studies. This is what I do." This transition is the moment of true freedom. In the beginning, discipline feels like a cage. You feel trapped by your schedule and your goals. But as you grow, you realize that discipline is actually the key to the cage. It is the only thing that frees you from the tyranny of your own moods. Imagine a ship at sea. A ship without a rudder is free to go wherever the waves take it. It can drift left, it can drift right, it can spin in circles. But that ship is not truly free because it will never reach its destination. It is a slave to the ocean. A ship with a strong rudder and a disciplined captain can cut through the waves. It can go exactly where it wants to go. That is the freedom of discipline. It gives you the power to steer your life toward the horizon of your dreams, regardless of which way the wind is blowing. As we move forward, remember this. Your feelings are like the weather. They change every hour. But your character is like the mountains. The mountain does not move when it rains. The mountain does not shrink when it snows. Be the mountain. Build your foundation in the quiet, hidden moments of the day. Do not wait for the spark. Become the fire itself. Now that we understand that discipline is our foundation and our identity, we must look at the tools we use to build that foundation. If discipline is the strength of the mountain, then habits are the paths carved into its side. A habit is a choice that you make so many times that it eventually becomes automatic. It is the brain's way of saving energy. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a field covered in tall, thick grass. You want to get to the other side. The first time you walk across, it is difficult. You have to push the grass away with your hands. Your legs feel tired. You might trip over a hidden rock. But if you walk that same path every morning, something happens. The grass begins to flatten. The ground becomes hard. After a month, there is a clear brown path through the green field. Now you don't even have to think about where to step. Your feet know the way. This is exactly how your brain works when you study English or practice a new skill. The first time you try to use a complex grammar structure, it feels like walking through tall grass. It is exhausting. But every time you repeat it, the path in your brain becomes smoother. To build these paths, you must understand the concept of friction. Friction is the resistance you feel when you try to do something difficult. If you want to be disciplined, your goal is to reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad ones. Think about your environment. If you want to study English for 30 minutes every morning, but your laptop is in another room, your notebook is hidden under a pile of papers, and your phone is sitting right next to your bed, you have too much friction. When you wake up, your brain will choose the path of least resistance, the phone. To change this, you must become the architect of your own life. Before you go to sleep, put your English book on your pillow. Open your laptop to the lesson you want to study. Put your phone in a drawer in the kitchen. Make the good choice so easy that it is harder not to do it. Discipline is not just about willpower. It is about design. It is about creating a world where your best self can succeed without having to fight a war every single hour. However, even with the best design and the strongest habits, you will eventually hit a wall. In the journey of self-discipline, there is a place called the messy middle. This is the period after the initial excitement of motivation has died, but before the results of your hard work have appeared. It is a lonely, quiet place. Imagine you are a hiker climbing a massive mountain. For the first few hours, you are full of energy. You can see the valley below and the air is fresh. But then the clouds move in. You can no longer see the top of the mountain and you can no longer see the bottom. You are surrounded by gray mist. Your legs ache and every breath feels like fire in your lungs. You begin to ask yourself, am I even moving? Is this worth it? Maybe I should just turn back. This is the moment where most people quit. They quit because they cannot see the progress. They feel like they are working into a void. But in the world of discipline, not quitting is the same thing as winning. When you feel like you are not making progress, you must trust the process. You must remember that the water is heating up even before it starts to boil. At 90 degrees Celsius, water is just hot. At 99 degrees, it is still just hot. But at 100 degrees, it explodes into steam and gains the power to move a giant locomotive. Most people stop at 99 degrees. They stop just inches away from the breakthrough. What do you do when you fail? Because you will fail. You will have a day where you eat the junk food, you skip the exercise, or you don't open your English book. Many people believe that discipline is about being perfect. They think that if they break their streak, everything is ruined. They say, well, I missed one day, so I might as well give up for the rest of the week. This is a trap. Discipline is not the absence of failure. It is the speed of your recovery. Imagine a professional tightrope walker. They are walking on a thin wire high above the ground. Do they stay perfectly still? No. They are constantly wobbling. They are constantly losing their balance and quickly finding it again. Their discipline is their ability to make small corrections. When you fail, do not spend the next 3 days punishing yourself. Guilt is a heavy weight that makes it harder to get back on the path. Instead, follow the never miss twice rule. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. If you fall, stand up immediately. Do not look back at the ground. Look forward at the next step. As you continue this journey, you will begin to experience the most beautiful part of self-discipline, the compound effect. In mathematics, compound interest is when your interest earns its own interest. In life, it is the same. Your small efforts today will multiply into massive results tomorrow. When you learn one new English word today, you haven't changed your life. When you learn one tomorrow, you are still the same person. But after a year, you have a vocabulary of hundreds of words. More importantly, those words begin to connect. You start to understand a song on the radio. You recognize a phrase in a movie. Suddenly, the language that felt like a wall starts to feel like a door. This growth is not linear. It does not go up in a straight line. It starts slowly, hugging the ground, and then it suddenly curves upward toward the sky. Most of your results will come from the last 10% of your effort. This is why consistency is the only currency that matters. A person who studies English for 20 minutes every day for a year will always be more successful than a person who studies for 10 hours once a month. The human brain needs the constant rhythmic drip of repetition to transform. Think of your discipline as a gift you are giving to your future self. When you choose to do the hard work now, you are making the future easier. You are building a version of yourself that is more capable, more confident, and more free. Imagine yourself 1 year from today. You are sitting in a cafe, and someone approaches you and starts a conversation in English. Instead of feeling that old flash of fear and panic, you feel a calm sense of readiness. You speak clearly. You express your thoughts with precision. You feel a deep, warm glow of pride in your chest. That feeling is not a miracle. It is the result of the gray Wednesdays where you chose to work. It is the result of the mornings where you chose the most over the now. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. It is not about being a genius. It is not about being lucky. It is about the quiet, invisible choices you make when no one is watching. It is about being the mountain. It is about being the fire.
The path is long and the climb is steep, but the view from the top is unlike anything you can imagine. Keep walking, keep breathing, keep choosing. Your future self is waiting for you, and they are cheering you on. Up to this point, we have looked deep inside ourselves. We have discussed the spark of motivation, the foundation of discipline, and the quiet rhythm of habits. But we do not live in a vacuum. We do not live alone on a mountain. We live in a world full of noise, and more importantly, we live in a world full of other people. This brings us to one of the most difficult challenges of self-discipline, the social fortress. When you decide to change your life, when you decide to become a disciplined person who masters English, you are essentially telling the world that you are no longer the person you used to be. For some people in your life, this will be inspiring, but for others, your change will be uncomfortable. It will act like a mirror, reflecting their own lack of discipline back at them. Imagine it is a Friday evening. You have planned to spend 1 hour reading an English novel to improve your vocabulary. You have cleared your desk and you are ready to begin. Suddenly, your phone buzzes. It's a group of friends. They are going out to a movie or a party, and they want you to come. Come on, they say. It's just one night. You work too hard. You're being boring. This is a moment of profound social friction. In these moments, your discipline is tested by your desire to belong. Humans are social creatures. We hate to feel left out. But you must realize that saying no to others is often the only way to say yes to yourself. You are not being boring or mean. You are being protective. You are protecting the fire you have worked so hard to build. There is an old story about a bucket of crabs. If you put one crab in a bucket, it will easily climb out and find freedom. But if you put 10 crabs in a bucket, none of them will escape. As soon as one crab reaches the top and tries to pull itself over the edge,
The others will reach up and pull it back down. They don't do this because they are evil. They do it because they want the group to stay together. The world is often like that bucket. When you try to climb out of mediocrity, people may try to pull you back down to their level. You must have the discipline to keep climbing anyway. You must learn to communicate your goals with kindness, but also with absolute firmness. Instead of saying, "I can't go," try saying, "I am choosing to stay." Use the language of ownership. When you say you are choosing, you are reminding yourself and others that you are the captain of your ship. Over time, the people who truly love you will respect your boundaries. They will stop asking you to compromise your dreams, and they will start asking you how you stay so consistent. As you navigate these social waters, you must also learn to balance two very different ways of looking at your life: the lighthouse and the compass. The lighthouse is your long-term vision. It is the big dream. It is the image of you standing on a stage giving a speech in perfect English, or the day you sign the contract for your dream job. The lighthouse is far away, and its light is bright. You need the lighthouse because without it, you will lose your sense of direction. When the days are dark and the work is boring, you look at the lighthouse to remember why you are doing this. However, you cannot live in the lighthouse. If you spend all your time staring at the light in the distance, you will trip over the rocks right in front of your feet. This is why you also need the compass. The compass is your daily focus. It does not show you the destination, it only shows you the next step. The compass doesn't care about your dream job or your future speech. The compass only cares about the next 30 minutes. It cares about the next page of the book.
It cares about the next vocabulary flashcard. Discipline is the art of looking at the lighthouse once a day, but following the compass every hour. Think about a person who wants to build a great wall. If they stand back and look at the entire project, thousands of heavy stones, months of back-breaking labor, they will feel overwhelmed. They will feel small and defeated. But a disciplined person doesn't look at the wall. They look at the single brick in their hand. Their only goal, their only mission in life for the next 10 minutes is to lay that one brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. They don't worry about the wall. They only worry about the brick. And then, one day, they wake up and the wall is finished. If you want to master English, do not worry about the thousands of words you don't know yet. Do not that still confuses you. Look at the one brick. Learn one phrase. Listen to one podcast. Lay that brick perfectly. Then lay another. The wall of your success will take care of itself. As we reach the end of this journey, take a moment to look back at how far your mind has traveled. We started with the realization that motivation is a fickle spark, a temporary guest that leaves when the weather gets cold. We discovered that discipline is the foundation of the house, the quiet strength that keeps us standing when everything else fails. We learned that discipline is not a punishment, but a gift to our future selves, a way to transform our very identity from someone who is trying to someone who is. You have learned that the messy middle is not a sign of failure, but a sign of growth. You have learned that your failures are just small wobbles on a tightrope, and that the only true defeat is the choice to stay on the ground. You have seen how the compound effect turns your small, invisible efforts into a massive, unstoppable force of nature. Now the path lies open before you. The world will tell you that success is for the lucky, the rich, or the gifted. The world will tell you that you need to wait for the right moment, the right teacher, or the right feeling. But you know the truth now. Success is not a destination. It is a way of walking. It is the choice you make at 6 a.m. when the bed is warm. It is the choice you make at 9 p.m. when you are tired, but you open your book anyway. Self-discipline is the ultimate form of self-love.
It is the refusal to let your temporary moods steal your permanent dreams. It is the promise you make to yourself that your potential will not be wasted. Imagine yourself years from now, looking back at this very moment. You will see this as the day you stopped waiting and started becoming. You will see that the mountain wasn't conquered in a single leap, but in millions of small, disciplined steps. The alarm clock will ring again tomorrow morning. The sun will rise, and the gray Wednesday will arrive. You might feel tired. You might feel uninspired. You might feel like the goal is too far away. But when that moment comes, you will not look for a spark. You will not wait for a sign. You will simply breathe. You will remember your identity, and you will put on your shoes. You will lay the next brick. You will take the next step. Because you are no longer a slave to your feelings. You are the master of your fate. You are the mountain. You are the fire. And the world is waiting to see what you will build. Your journey doesn't end here. It begins here. Now, go and do the work. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. It really helps the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.